right, good afternoon, everyone. We're now getting ready to start the NC State portion of the press conferences for today. I'd like to remind you that there is no videoing allowed in the room. You can take pictures, not videos. If you have a question, we'll ask you to raise your hand and wait until we get the microphone to you. So let's go ahead and open it up. Are there any questions for the student athletes? Let's start with Mitch and then we'll go back there.
Yeah, Mitch Northam, Associated Press. Elissa, I was wondering, if kind of during the season you're somebody who watches, other games in your off time, and do you pay attention to kind of like what the other kind of top players around the sport are doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I watch like as many games as I can, and just like highlight film and all that, because you can always learn from other players and different matchups that happen. Like, oh, we played this team and now this team is playing them. So for sure. I mean, I think I stayed up to like 12 o'clock last night trying to finish watching all the women's games that were going on. So yeah, I try to watch as much basketball as possible.
So then I have a follow-up. Did you watch Lee's 61-point game against Oklahoma, and what did you think?
I didn't, but we have the clips ready to watch them later.
Okay, let's go back there in the second row.
Yeah, Alex Sawyer with Pack Pride. Elissa, we talked to Kai and Kayla the other day, and they were talking about when you go into an aggressive mode, it's like, okay, there she is. You've been scoring a lot of points in the last few weeks. Have you felt yourself being a little bit more aggressive offensively and trying to find your shot a little bit more?
I think so, a little bit. I know that every single person on our team is capable of scoring, but then obviously everybody has their off nights, and so when it's time for me to step up and have an on night and maybe score more for the team, then I'm ready for that. But if it's a night where it's kind of just everybody spreading around the scoring, then I'm also just ready to play that role. So it's kind of whatever the night calls for.
Okay, we can go to Ernie back in the middle.
Ernie Myers, NC State Radio. Diamond Johnson, is this everything you expected when you transferred from Rutgers? Are you where you want to be?
This is definitely everything I wanted. I wanted to play on the big stage, play with great players, play for a good coach. So we finally here. We've been talking about March since the beginning of the season, and we just got to take it one game at a time, but we ready. I feel it.
Let's go up front here to Jones.
Jonas Pope, News and Observer. Diamond, this is for you. Coach Moore talked about it all year. Not only you, but Jada kind of accepting the role of coming off the bench. I know everybody wants to start, but kind of talk about that buy-in and accepting that role and the responsibility of being that person to come off the bench and provide a spark.
Once I knew what my role was, I try to do the best I can in it. It's days where I feel off but I just got to play that role for my team, not be selfish. So it's been good to me. I honestly like it. We need sparks off the bench, keep the momentum going, and that's what I try to provide for my team, do a little bit of everything, and that's what helped us get here. Everybody played their role and played it right, so that's why we're here today.
Let's go across over here, Brett.
Brett Freelander, North State Journal. Elissa, looking back at the box score, Ilka had 19 against you in the earlier matchup, but a lot of those came late after the game was kind of decided. What did you do defensively to neutralize her, and what do you have to do this time? How have things changed since that game?
We're going to keep it pretty much the same. We kept her below her average. I remember that game, and obviously we came out with a W, so I think just focusing either whether we're going to be in front, behind, three quarters, like whatever we're going to do defensively, just buying into that and fighting every single possession. I remember last game kind of letting up a little bit in the fourth quarter, honestly, and I still think about that to this day. So just battling through every possession throughout the whole game, and hopefully we keep her under that.
Let's go back to Jonas.
This is Elissa, this is a follow-up to the question off of Diamond. Coach Moore said a bigger difference this year is having the bench, having more depth. Can you tell the difference in having, I'm not saying more quality reserves, but reserves who could be starters? Has that been a main difference for the team this year?
Yeah, it's huge. Kind of like I talked about earlier, not everybody's going to have a good night. It's basketball. There's bad nights. And so when you have someone have an off night and you have someone like Diamond that can come in and score a bucket as soon as she touches the ball, that's going to help our team out. Foul trouble or just being tired, off nights, whatever it is. And then you also look at it in practice, you know. You got Diamond Ray going against each other every day in practice, and you have all of us playing against each other. It just makes our team better as a whole. And then wanting to be in that starting position or even have more minutes, because everyone has to fight for minutes on the team. So everyone's always battling, and there's never just like an easy day in practice or an easy day.
And Diamond, you said earlier, you said you kind of like it. Do you see a difference kind of watching the game start from the bench? You kind of break it down a little bit different as opposed to starting right away on the floor?
Yeah, I get to see different things. You know, when I see different things, I try to tell them from the sideline, like, what's going on, whether they over helping, doubling the post, or just going under screen. Just try to tell them so that they can make the read. And when I go in, I try to adjust and do what I've been telling them to do. So it's definitely a blessing to see what they don't see sometimes.
Let's go to Kelly in the second row in the middle there.
Hey guys, Kelly Gramlich, ESPN. Elissa, I want to talk with you because I've been following two of your assistant coaches, Aaron and Nikki, who both were great post players in their day. And I believe this is the first time that Aaron's been able to coach someone for all 4 years, which is you, and I know she's big in your recruiting. So what do those two mean to you, having the experience playing your position in the ACC, and what have you learned from them?
Honestly, so Evie's been here the longest for me, and she's just been huge. You know, she's the one that I watch film with. She's the one that, like, tells me to go up there and watch film with her, and that I ask, and she's always like, yes, we can do everything, you know. And then she's the one in the gym with me, too. So if I ask her for a workout or we watch the game, be like, oh, let's work on that tomorrow. She's always the one, like, making notes for me during the games and just in practices and helping me out. And then Coach Nikki's almost like a good cop, bad cop relationship. Coach Nikki's the one that's going to yell at you and tell you to do it, and Evie's going to be the one that, like, kind of coach you along a little bit. But the dynamic of them, they've just helped me so much over this career. And EB, I think it's super thankful. And I get almost, like, emotional when I think about her being here for all my 4 years, and really being solid over those 4 years.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. Ready one? Let's start here on the edge here, and then we'll get Mitch, and then we'll get Kelly.
Elissa, Camille has gotten better and better, you know, as her years have gone along and as this year's gone along. Just for you, how have you seen her game grow through the last couple years?
I mean, she's probably one of the most competitive people on the team. You know, even in practice, she's not going to let someone, like, try to block her shot or score against her. So I think she's just, like, kind of taken her role into her head and just been like, I'm going to play my hardest and do what I can with her minutes, and then also just in practice battling it out, you know. That's one reason why I've gotten better over my years, because I've had her to go against every day in practice. And every time she come in, she does great. If I'm in foul trouble or anything, she's able to just pick up, and there's no drop off. So I think she's going to be a really good player.
Let's go to Mitch up front.
Yeah, Diamond, the one thing I noticed kind of looking at Kansas State's roster is their guards are pretty tall and long for the guard position. I think they're all about 6 foot, 6'1". What kind of challenges does that present for you, or do you see that maybe as an advantage if you can kind of be quicker?
I basically been playing against taller guards all my life. Long ago, it was the first guards I played that was my height or shorter. So that was good. But it's definitely a challenge. They longer, lanky, you know, but I do have quickness to get, you know, a step ahead. But playing against taller guards make me better. It make me focus on my shot more, creating space more. So I like playing against taller guards. Even in practice, everybody taller than me except for Raina. She thinks she's taller, but she's not. So yeah, I try to, even in practice, I try to guard like somebody like Jakia or Kai, just so I can learn how to guard bigger guards more and stuff like that. So it's definitely a challenge, but it's been good to me going against taller guards.
Let's go back to Kelly in the middle.
This one is for both of you guys, if you can both answer. With Raina, I think she is perhaps one of the most underrated point guards in the country with what she does. She played basically a perfect first half yesterday. So, Diamond, what is the benefit when you guys get to play together? And then just overall, do you feel like Raina gets the credit she deserves?
Playing with Ray is I love playing with her. We know where each other are on the floor. We get out in transition, pass the ball up the court. Whenever she's tired, somebody pressing her, I come help her, come get the ball, and vice versa. Ray is definitely a good point guard. I think she don't get as much credit as she deserves, but she's really solid. She probably one of the best point guards I saw. And this is my first year seeing her. I saw her a little bit last year, but this year I actually get to see like everything in practice and the game. So Ray is definitely a good point guard, and I love playing with her.
Elissa, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I definitely don't think people talk about Raina enough. I mean, she's our point guard, leading the number one seed in the tournament in the country. So I definitely don't think so. But I think she goes out there and she doesn't care about that. She shows it every single night why she's our point guard and why she can do anything in the world for us, whether it's points, assists, like whatever role she needs to play that game. So, yeah, I don't.
Okay, Jonas, you have a question? Right there.
Question for Elissa. Senior day was senior day. You had the ceremony and everything, but you knew you would get more games here. So tomorrow is it for your career in Reynolds. Do you have a favorite Reynolds memory, and just how do you kind of process the emotions of playing your last game here?
For senior night, I did think like, okay, yeah, it is senior night, but we'll be back in this building. But I'm excited about it. And honestly, my favorite Reynolds memories, like beside games, like obviously I've had games and like what's been loud in here and all that, but I still remember like when I committed to NC State and came here and was like eating a soft pretzel with like my dad and my mom, like watching the game. So I think that's still like one of my core memories about Reynolds, just watching everything play. But yeah, it's going to be crazy, like it actually being my last game here. But I'm excited for it, and I think the crowd's going to be amazing. We saw it yesterday, how many people showed up, like sold it out for a first round game. So Reynolds is amazing. The people who fill it are amazing, and so I'm excited for one last time.
Any other questions? All right, ladies, thank you very, very much, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coach Moore should be here shortly. All right, we are now ready to begin Coach Moore's press conference. Coach, could you please give us an opening statement?
Okay. Glad to be here today, obviously. Appreciate you guys being here. We obviously played Kansas State. Seems like a few years ago, but it was a few months ago. So, it's interesting to see how they've evolved and got a lot of young players now in the starting lineup. And, of course, it's all centered around Lee. And, trying to slow her down, obviously, is a big challenge. And then when they have a lot of people that can knock down threes around her, we know we'll have to play well. So, like the way we played yesterday, a lot of people got involved. A lot of people scored the ball. Thought we did a good job on the offensive boards, which has been a point of emphasis. And, it's good to get back out there and play after being off almost 2 weeks. So hopefully we got the rust knocked off, and we can come out and play well tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll now open up the floor for questions. Let's start with Jonas, and then we'll go to Mitch.
Coach, you've talked all year about your bench and how that's been a big difference. You talked about it yesterday. Diamond was a player who came in, was all Big Ten, started the first game. So what was that conversation like when you got to transition her to a role player and come off the bench for the team?
Well, first of all, I don't consider her a role player. We just have 7 or 8 starters. But she's made it easy on me. She's had a great attitude. And, I talked to her early in the year about, hey, why don't we this year, let's see if you can be 6th player of the year in the ACC. And she went out and did that. And I think she kind of liked the idea of having something there. But she's just fit in so well. And, again, a lot of it has to do, she's just a good person and has good personality and loves the game. So that, wears off on everybody else. And, like I said, she's made it easy on me just by accepting that, and when she's in there, when she goes in there, she gives us a big lift. So it's worked out really well, obviously.
Let's go to Mitch, and then we'll get Brett next.
Yeah, Mitch Northam, Associated Press. Coach, the first time you guys played Kansas State, Lee really struggled until the fourth quarter, and by that point, you all were already up double digits. What was kind of the strategy going in, and what worked so well against her?
Well, I don't know. You try to make it hard for them to get it to her, but they're really good at it. I mean, that's what they do. So work inside out. We prepare 3 or 4 different ways to defend her, and you'd love to just have to use one of them. But if that's not working, then obviously you go to Plan B, and if need be, Plan C or whatever. So that's what we'll do today in practice, is kind of reiterate those things. And but really, at some point you just got to hope she misses, a few, because she doesn't miss very often. And she does a great job of burying, got good hands, and a really nice baby hook, which I think is really hard to defend. And then also the offensive boards. She gets a lot of stuff there by being able to get position early and finish with the putback. So it'll take a team effort also. The guards are going to have to be really active and helping from the weak side and maybe digging down a little bit. And so it's a team effort for sure, trying to slow her down.
Okay, let's get Brett, and then we'll go in the back to Ernie after that.
Brett Friedlander, North State Journal. Wes, earlier in Elissa's career, I remember you saying that she needed to get more of a mean streak, and she has developed an aggressiveness over her career. What went into that process, and do you see it really coming out more when she's presented with a challenge like Kitley or now Lee?
Yeah, I do think Elissa's has a competitive streak in her and wants to perform well. So I think probably when she's faced with someone like Lee, who's a really great player, definitely gets her attention. But I think Lisa's been pretty consistent throughout her career. Most of the time, she's going to show up and do her thing. And I do think it's tough. You want to stay out of foul trouble. You got to make sure you pick your spots, and sometimes you may just have to back off and all those things, because we need Elissa on the court as well. So I think she's, again, sometimes can be aggressive and go for the steal or whatever, and you just got to make sure you stress to her, we need you in there over the long haul. So got to be pretty smart about it. But again, her and Camille make a pretty good tag team, and like I said, also the guards. We're going to have everybody helping on Lee, because y'all realize she scored 61 against Oklahoma, right? So that's what she's capable of doing. So definitely going to draw some attention.
Okay, go in the back to Ernie, and then we'll get Kelly.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
I know everybody's talking about Lee, but Sundell had a great game. Her
Yeah.
first game here, I think she had 20 points as a freshman. How do you feel about players who, had good games against you and they're familiar, and they usually try to have
Yeah.
So what do you feel about that?
She hit 5 out of 11 threes in that game. And what's funny is I told I preached all week, we're going to make somebody else be the leading scorer besides Lee. Well, we did. Congrats, Coach. Great strategy. But no, Lee had 19, and Sundell had actually I think had 21. So, that's the scary part. I mean, it's hard to cover all of them, and obviously we'll try to do a better job on her, and we'll have Kai matched up with her. But still, when you're focused on trying to slow down a great post player, it makes it a little bit easier for everybody else around them. And so you just got to, like I said, we've got to play with a lot of energy, a lot of urgency, getting inside, out, flooding down, flooding back out, all those things. So just got to be real active.
Okay, let's go to Kelly, and then we'll get Mitch up front next.
Coach, how has the step been received by the team, and how is neighbor Ron doing? Can we get an update on him?
Yeah. I haven't really talked to neighbor Ron the last day or two, but I know he was at the game yesterday. But the players, I was probably, they kind of get a kick out of it. So we were able to switch it over to Kansas State immediately after the game yesterday. So when they got on the bus, they could update that. But it's been interesting to hear them talking about it. And they just say it does remind us that we just need to focus on one. Don't look at this big old bracket. It doesn't matter. Look at this next game. And so from that standpoint, it's been good. So, but yeah, Ron, we appreciate Ron.
Let's go front to Mitch.
Wes, you mentioned Lee's 61-point game yesterday and today. I was wondering kind of how much that game is a part of the scouting report and how much you focus on, an outlier like that.
Yeah, well, they played Oklahoma twice. So the next time they played Oklahoma switched up the way they were playing. So it's interesting to, see those adjustments. And, it's the thing is there's like I said, several ways of doing it. But you also got to recognize what are we good at doing, I like sometimes fronting, but we hadn't done a real good job with it. I don't get it really because I just tell them, act like you're on offense and you're posting up, and when they're on offense, they know how to do that. But that's what you want them to do is really post up big and try to crab walk them down a little bit. And for whatever reason, we stand straight up and they throw the lob and they go get it. So, but we, you got to do what you do well. But at the same time, like I said, you got to have a lot of options. If something isn't working, we're going to try something else and hope one of them works. And again, great player. And but what makes her, a part of it too is they got other people around her. As we mentioned, Sun Hill hit 5 threes on us. They got other players that are capable of having a day like that, and that can mess up your plans in a hurry. And there'll be fans up there yelling, "Why aren't you guarding her?" Well, hey, we gotta pick our poison here,
Any other questions? All right, Coach, thank you very much. Good
Thank
luck
y'all.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
What should be about 20-25 minutes before we get Kansas State in here.
Been handing out Ron's business cards too, so that he can meet like other business since he's got so much free advertising.